Hi everyone, in this video this is more my idea of how a camera design may or should look in the future. Well, more about the camera back, or the back of the camera. For example, Nikon, this is kind of related to how Nikon has brought out the latest DF camera. And I've kind of said it looks awesome apart from the back. It's just like they've gone on and on about simplicity and how it's meant to be an old-fashioned look. But yeah, I've said, when did old-fashioned cameras have so many buttons on the back of their camera? For example, if we were to count it again, so on the back, just talk about the actual things here. So we've got the play, the delete. So 1, 2, 3, 4, rotating button, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, 16 buttons there going on the back of the camera. For example, the OK, and then it's the what do you call that? The 8-point pointing dial, and then you've actually got a clickety thing. So that's 3 buttons in one spot there. And my opinion there is that that's just too many buttons. Like, do you even need that? And I was thinking, wait, what do the... Oh, and the other thing is, on top of that, we've got 1, 2, 3 of the buttons are multifunction. So it didn't need, what did I say, 16? It actually needed 17, 18, 19 buttons is what it seemed like it actually needed. Because that was actually a zoom and a flash, but the green bit is actually also a part of the formatting the memory card. You've got your zooming in and then your quality. You've got your locking button, another question mark, or information mark, and your white balance thing going on there. I'm like, oh god, right, so many buttons there. I was looking at the other cameras, for example, Canon 550D. It's got 1, 2, 3, which is a video button, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 buttons. Okay, we're going 14 buttons there. And ones which are multi are 1, the Q button, which is also the direct to print. That's a button which can go away. Then you've got another multi button there, so an extra 2 multi buttons there, so 16 buttons needed on that. And then on the Canon 5D Mark II, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which is your on and off, 11, 12, 13. Did I count that one? So only 13 buttons on the back of that, but it does have an extra 4 up here. So a lot less buttons. Now my idea is that you've got to declutter the back of the camera. You don't need all this crap. And that's where something like an iPod screen would actually be pretty good. So the size of this, which is currently recording me just now, could easily fit on the back. Like if we put the whole iPod Touch like that, it looks a bit rubbish. But if we take away this bit here and this bit here, and we use the actual screen area, it comes up to only kind of just down here. Having this size of screen, this is the iPod Touch 5th generation 32, 16 gigabytes or something, so not the cheapest one, which isn't quite as big. That's quite a large amount of space. It also means that whenever you're filming, and with all these cameras in 1080p, you then don't have the black line at the top, black line at the bottom, and it would actually fill a greater area of the shot. However, obviously, doing this on there, which I've actually, I kind of photoshopped a photo of it, so that's kind of how the back of the camera would look. But what would happen is you wouldn't need all these buttons. So my idea would be that you'd make these buttons touchscreen. And because do you really need buttons for these bits of information? I put this picture up on Facebook and had a couple of comments back. Gregory Cazillo, if you don't know him, you should check out his YouTube stuff. He does lots of tutorials and everything there. He came back with a couple of arguments which I would have made myself as well. So Greg said, his was like, no, don't have touchscreen, that's rubbish. Individual buttons allow you to use them without looking. That won't work with a touchscreen. Correct, I agree. However, I don't know a time when I've gone, oh, I know I need to press the menu button without looking whenever I'm always going to be looking at the back. The info button, well, you press that to look at information on the back. The play button, again, you press that to look at images on the back of your camera. The delete button, again, you press that to look at images on the back of your camera. This other one, which I hold on, what does it do? I've had the pictured styles. No, that's something which you're going to set up before you actually start taking videos. I don't need an instant button to go into my picture styles to go, oh, I quickly need to change it to neutral, faithful landscape mode. That's a totally defunct button, don't need that at all. The other one, this one up here, is the autofocus selection button. Whoops. That one, yeah, you could use that whenever you're looking in the actual camera, in the actual hole. But otherwise, nah, the rest of the stuff isn't really doing that much for me. So I was thinking, right, okay, so we could actually, it could be we could like bring over the kind of touchscreen-ness over onto that, and also the Canon 700D, 650D, 660D, I don't know, Canon's got so many which are exactly the same, has got a touchscreen thing on the back, so okay, so it's possible there. However, next argument is you can't use it with gloves. You can't use a touchscreen with gloves. Good argument, again, and especially if you're using big, badass digital SLRs out in the fields, you might be wearing gloves. However, hold on a minute. Now, I suppose it depends on what kind of gloves you're talking about, but whenever I'm using my camera, it's usually where I need gloves. It will be outside on a ski slope. Now, so far, I can still hold onto my camera nice and chunky like this. Again, with the new Nikon DF, doesn't really have a big hand bit there or anything, so it would be slipping out. Like if I was to do this, with the 550D, I can't even get my fingers really into that. Bit dangerous there. So, it would be with a big chunky camera like this. However, if I try to turn it on, okay, it turns on, not bad. If I want to go to menu, I can still use that. Not too bad. And I'd imagine touch screening wouldn't be so good. However, it's not really, like, most of the time when I'm going to be outside using this where I need gloves, I'm going to be just going, hold on. In fact, this is exactly what I'll be doing. I'll be having camera there. I'll be going, oh, I need to change the setting. And then shoot. Because it'll be immediate and I need to know, I need to be accurate with that kind of stuff. So, in a situation where you need to change settings quickly, where you're wearing gloves, 90% of the time I will be taking my glove off to quickly change the setting. Not always using the camera. But again, okay, fair point, you can't use touchscreen with your gloves. How many of you have used your camera in a situation where you've needed to wear gloves, and how often has that been the case? So it's not like, you know, if you are an Arctic explorer and you use your camera every day that you're out there and you're using big thick gloves, fair dues. If you're a guy that's probably a bit too afraid to take your camera out because there's a bit of snow outside because you go, oh, I might freeze, it might break up, you probably don't need to worry about that kind of thing. Next thing, so that was my argument, is that yes, you can't wear gloves with it, but I say you probably don't need to worry about that kind of thing. The next bit is that potentially it would use up more power. And I think that that's a fair point. So you'd want it to be like an OLED kind of system. But also at the same time, even when I'm running programs on this very thin iPod Touch, I have got literally hours and hours and hours worth of time of full screen timing with this. That I don't necessarily think that the LCD screen on a digital SLR is what uses up the majority of the power. I think it's more the processing, the actual movements inside, the focusing, the vibration reduction, the metering, all the kind of processing and active stuff. Not so much just the screen on the back uses as much energy as we think. So that's my 3 arguments. 1, I don't think the battery is really an issue. 2, yeah, you couldn't use it with gloves. I don't think anybody uses it with gloves. 3, what was the other one? I can't remember. But at the same time, it's like you don't need actual buttons for a lot of these options when they're options or they're things that you look at when you're looking at the back of the screen. And I think that would make a far more streamlined looking back of a camera instead of all these buttons. Like, I do definitely still think that like a rotating dial or a multi-point joystick clickety-click button would definitely be a good thing to definitely have. But if you look at the size of the actual screen, maybe just make it a little bit longer, take out these buttons there, or make them part of the screen at the side, and then I think you'd have a much cleaner back of a camera. Just my thoughts. If any of you can think of any bits where I've totally missed out and like, why don't you think of that? Let me know in the, I would say comments below, but YouTube screwed that up at the moment, so maybe go to the Facebook and let me know. Cheers, bye bye.